Hey, what's up you guys? It's Manda Lee and I am back today with another speed build for you guys. The build that we are doing today is a Christmas mansion and it's in Windenburg. It's on the island in Windenburg, right by where I built my last speed build, which was the Christmas village. So make sure you guys check out that video if you haven't already. But this one is so gorgeous and I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's like I said, it's just a mansion. It's a Georgian style mansion. Red brick with lots of white columns and white details, and then it's decorated and all decked out for Christmas time. So there ends up being like a wreath on every window, and I kind of like backlit the wreaths so it looks so pretty at night. And there's these big porches on the front of it and everything like that. And it looks so pretty in the end. I'm sure you guys are going to love it. So at first when I started doing this build, I kind of went back and forth because I actually intended to have Mrs. Claus and Santa Claus live in this household. So I was wondering to myself, do I make it like a totally, like every single room is just 100% Christmas themed? Or do I just make it like a really elegant, pretty house with Christmas decorations up? I ended up going with the second one, but they totally did go all out with the Christmas decorations for this house. And, you know, it definitely has a Christmassy feel to it, even though it's not necessarily like a Christmas house. So I actually do have a little bit of a backstory that I'm thinking of doing a Let's Play, just maybe 1 or 2 episodes of just a quick Christmas Let's Play with the Claus family. So let me know if you guys are interested in seeing that, and they would be living in this house. So I've kind of crafted a little bit of a fun story for them, and may end up doing that if that's something that everyone is interested in. So this build took me forever to do, and I actually ended up building for over an hour without recording it. So I got like almost all of the basement area done, or excuse me, not the basement, the main level. And then I realized I wasn't recording, and that was maybe the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And I was really upset, and I seriously could not even look at this build for like 2 days after that because I was just so sad of all the work that I had lost. And I had really been like in the groove and like totally feeling it, and it was just, the inspiration was flowing. And then I go to look and turn off the recording and discover it was never on. So I ended up wiping the whole thing and restarting basically, just the furnishings. I kept like the wallpaper and stuff up, but it took me another hour, you know, to get back up to where I had been. So that was really disappointing, and because of that, and then also this build is just big and it's elaborate. So my Christmas village build that I did just last week took me less time than this build, and it also ended up being a shorter speed build. And I did cut through quite a few parts of that one, but I cut through some parts of this one too, as you guys will see going forward here. So yeah, it's kind of crazy how long it is just for what it is, because it's just a house. It's not like the Christmas village was kind of a really elaborate, you know, not a house basically. And houses tend to be a little bit simpler than like big community lots, especially when you're doing a community lot like that kind of has like a special story behind it. So I was really shocked at how long this build took me. And I think that having that hour of deleted footage did kind of like damper my whole thing, because it just took me a long time to finish it. It took me a long time to edit it. And, you know, I guess I just wasn't super feeling it as the process went on. But I'm so happy that I did finish this and stuck it out, even though it was tough, because this build is honestly one of my favorites that I've ever done. I say that for pretty much every build that I do, but they're also different. And this one, you know, is the same way. It's just such a unique build, especially for me. I never build in this like super traditional style. Like I said, it is a Georgian house. I actually found the blueprints, I guess you could say, for this house online, and it was a vintage home that was that was available for purchase in the 1920s. And you guys will never believe how much this exact house costed. It's down to the floor plan. The upper level, the floor plan's not quite the same, but on the lower level, it's the exact floor plan and everything. And the house costed $30,000, and that like blew my mind. Because today this would cost multi-millions of dollars, a house like this. So it's always funny to like look back and see the prices on things back then versus now, and kind of just like really blows me away. Like when I was telling my husband about it and I mentioned the $30,000, he said like just for the plans, and I was like, no, that's for the whole house, which is so crazy. Can you imagine being able to buy a house like this for $30,000 today? I absolutely cannot, and I wish that we could time travel back in time just so that we could buy all these amazing houses with so much less money. So here you can see me doing some of the roof detailing. This house has a really interesting roof, and I actually did take direct inspiration and almost directly copy the photo that I mentioned I was working off of earlier. So it had kind of this big flat piece with the fence around it on the top. It had these big chimneys, which are actually just double stacked chimneys from Cats and Dogs. I kind of cheated a little bit and stacked them up, and I was worried that this smoke wouldn't come out of the chimneys because I love that visual at night. But the smoke does come out of the chimneys. It kind of does come out of both of them, so it's a little weird if you look at it really closely, but it's not super noticeable, I don't think. So this build does end up being really big, like I mentioned before. We end up having the master bedroom, another bedroom upstairs, and then there's like a servant's quarters that has a few twin beds in it, but you totally could just convert that to another bedroom. There's a game room, there's an exercise room, there's like a study, there's a library, there's like a breakfast nook, which is essentially just another dining room. The kitchen, there's a butler's pantry, there is a dining room, and there's a music room, and then there's a parlor and a sitting room, which are different things somehow. I had to actually look that up as I was furnishing them. I'm like, I have no idea what the difference between a parlor and a sitting room is. And it was so hilarious because parlors are, as we most of us know, pretty outdated, and a sitting room would be kind of the modern day equivalent of a living room today. So like just more casual with more comfortable furniture, whereas a parlor is like the formal living room. And it was funny because I was just reading a little bit about the differences between the two just so I could kind of furnish them more properly. And a parlor is actually a place where when someone was sick, they would kind of be quarantined into. So a lot of times it ends up actually being called the death room. And I think that was more in like the 1800s. The 1900s, which is kind of where this house is from, wouldn't have that quite as much, just because there was, less overall sickness and death and stuff. But in the 1800s and even going further back than that, the parlor would be the room where people would go to die. So kind of gruesome, but it's a really pretty room. And the sitting room also, it said that is usually more geared towards ladies, so I thought that was interesting as well. And then there's a gorgeous library, which is so fun, just with tons of bookshelves all over the shelves. And I kind of went back and forth, like, do I want to make this like a really vintage build where like I don't have modern day electronics? But I decided to not do that, and I thought it would be like a historical home but still modern. So they have TVs, they have radios, they have nice appliances and different stuff like that. But it definitely does feel like if you walked into it, you would feel like you were walking into the past almost, just because of all the historical features and accents and stuff. And just the exterior of this house is just not anything that you would see built in this day and age, unless you were encountering a historical house of some kind. So I was also going to mention to everybody, I am going to be out of town from the 19th of December through the 2nd of January. So for that entire time, all my videos are pre-recorded and like scheduled to upload. So if you guys have any, I will do my best to get on there as soon as I can, but just know that like if you guys are making comments and telling me ideas of stuff, I won't be recording any new videos to go up until the first week of January. So it's all pre-recorded. I'm actually still working on pre-recording it, kind of trying to get that done as quickly as possible because I will be leaving just on this coming Tuesday, which is crazy. I'm going to be going to Arizona for 2 weeks for Christmas, just to visit my family and my husband's family. So I'm really excited to get out of the cold and get into the warmth, and it's going to be like the 70s every day and just like perfect weather, and I'm excited about it. So I hope that wherever you guys end up, that you have a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. And I think that I'm actually going to end this voiceover here. This build is just so insanely long, and honestly I don't have a lot to say. So I will just play some fun, festive holiday music, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. Sorry that I can't think of something to say for 40 minutes of this build. But like I said, happy holidays to everybody, and I will speak to you when I get back. Feel free to reach out in the comments on YouTube or on my Twitter page. And like I said, I will do my best to kind of still be on the scene, but it will probably be less than normal. Anyways, guys, enjoy this build. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys later.